Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to number 10 of the Professional People Podcast. Today I have on my cousin Carissa Silas, who is a marketing specialist over at Hella in Northville, an automotive supplier. Sheds a lot of good insight on personal branding and marketing tactics in the digital age. So I hope you all learned a lot and enjoy the episode. Hello everybody, and welcome to the 10th episode of the Professional People Podcast. Very special guest today, my own cousin, Carissa Silas from Hella in Michigan. Carissa, why don't you introduce yourself and bring us up into how you got to Hella and what you're doing there now.
Awesome. Well, first off, thanks for having me. I'm really thankful to be here and get a chance to talk to you and all your viewers. So as Dan said, my name is Carissa Silas. I'm currently a marketing specialist at Hella. Prior to Hella, so my career started, I was a student athlete at the University at Buffalo, which is a Division I school in the MAC, where I played volleyball for 4 years. Great experience, taught me a lot about time management, discipline, attention to detail, drive, teamwork, so a lot of good things that I didn't really realize how much it would apply to my career. From there, my senior year, I gained an internship at Columbus McKinnon, which is a company based in Gettsville, New York, where I started as an HR intern, and then after graduation was hired on as an HR assistant. So really was what I got my career started in. It was in HR, so learning the different aspects of HR, learning just what it is to be in a professional workplace. From there, I came back to Michigan, born and raised here, so really wanted to get back home, and started at Magna Powertrain, based in Troy, Michigan, where I was a corporate recruiter for about 4 years. So worked on everything from hiring people to employee engagement to the intern program. So just a lot of well-rounded knowledge there, and also being in Michigan, it's hard not to be in automotive, so really got my foot in automotive. From there, I was able to kind of explore and touch a lot of different aspects of the business for us to figure out that marketing was where I really wanted. I had a lot of chances to work within the communications department at Magna Powertrain. Had a lot of really great mentors there that really taught me and showed me that, marketing was where I wanted to take my career. So from there, in February of 2020, I joined Hella as a marketing specialist, so based in Northville, Michigan. So at Hella, I am responsible for our product marketing within the North and South America region, along with event marketing. So event marketing hasn't been as big of a topic right now, just with everything going on and with COVID, a lot of those events aren't happening. But it's been really an awesome experience to really push the limits of marketing, because you have to think outside of the box right now. Without your traditional events of being able to go to a customer and show them a product, you have to be innovative and find ways to be able to communicate your product, communicate your company, communicate your alignment without really doing the traditional way. So that's currently where I'm at.
So going from HR to marketing, there's some overlap there. You were in recruiting, you have to market to new employees that you're trying to bring in, and now you have to switch your mindset to trying to attract customers, buyers, other companies. What did you learn in HR that helped you as you transition into more of a marketing role?
It really taught me that you have to be able to communicate in so many different ways. Every person is different, and so the way that you communicate a product to one person can be completely different the way you communicate to another person. So it's really learning who the end customer is, what they're attracted to, what their interests are. So for instance, in recruiting, it was, are they interested in a pay bump, or are they more interested in a job? Are they interested in company culture, work from home environment? To now, are they interested in more of the cost reduction? Are they interested in a lighter product, more innovative product, something that integrates well into their current systems? So really being able to discover what is the true benefit that the end customer wants and working our way there.
Okay, and what do you think has been the biggest challenge? I know you started this job right as COVID kind of hit.
Yes.
I understand that events are probably the biggest challenge because there are none, but what have you done to overcome that challenge and, like you said, think out of the box to create new ways to market to the Hella customers?
The nice part is that everyone hit the same issue at the same time. So it wasn't just Hella hitting the issue or another company. We all kind of hit the same what now how do we solve this? A lot of events have gone virtual, which good or bad, everyone kind of has their own feeling on it. But one of the big things that we've done is figuring out different ways to engage. So being innovative, whether it's recording our products to making sure that we're doing our own at-home videos, so that way we can show our customers our new products coming up. Different digital platforms that we're using to be able to pull in the customer to show them our products. So just really trying to think of different ways to show our product without it being a standard presentation. So it's so easy to get into the standard presentation of here's a presentation, but what's different? Podcasts? Podcasts is something that I think right now is really up and coming, and I think people are starting to learn that there's so much information that you can listen to, right? A drive to work. In the morning as you're getting ready for a work day, pop your earbuds in. It's easy to listen to just a quick conversation. And so that's one thing that, as a company we're really trying to push is talk to other people, listen to podcasts, and really just engage in those different forms of media.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy podcasts so much, that's why I decided to start one, right? And that's why we're here today.
Yes.
I do think they add a lot of value. Just one of the best podcasts of all time, Joe Rogan, he always says it is, you need these long-form dialogues so you can actually get into topics and get into some detail rather than these short clips that we're used to in the social media age. But I wanted to take a step back just so our listeners can kind of understand what you're talking about. Can you go in a little bit to just what Hella does in a very broad sense, and then who your customers are so they can understand kind of your marketing tactics and your audience?
Of course. So Hella is an automotive supplier. So anyone that is not familiar with the automotive world, we have what we call your OEMs, your original equipment manufacturers, which are your GM, Ford, Chrysler, Tesla. So those are all the end products that you see that, as people we are driving, right? I drive a Jeep. So that that's kind of the brand it is. As a tier 1, we make the components that go into the car. So we'll make different electronics or different lighting. So we make headlamps. So the headlamps that are on the cars that you're seeing are products that we make, then we sell to your GM, Ford, or Chrysler. In certain aspects, we are a tier 2 supplier with some of our electronic capabilities. So those are ones that we make different modules or sensors, and we'll sell them to a different, like a Magna, and then they'll take it, put it in their seat components, and then they'll sell it to GM, Ford, or Chrysler. So we have our 2 different business segments. So our lighting, which is our headlamps, rear lamps, and then we have our electronics business, which ranges everything from modules to sensors to, there's a lot of products there, but definitely touches a lot, which is really cool right now because we're seeing in automotive, a lot of these cars are going more toward the electric side. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing these cars that are making decisions for you as a driver. So a lot of those are the Hella components that we're helping integrate with the OEMs.
Awesome, and I know a little bit about OEMs because on your insurance policies, that's actually a coverage you can add is the OEM original parts, and you can get that replaced instead of, if you don't have that coverage on, you're just going to get the cheapest part. So Hella's got the OEMs, TDA's got the coverage for them. All right, so let's get back to the marketing piece because like you said, you're going mostly automotive B2B.
Yeah.
So where, mostly, previous times you're going to be at the auto show, places like that.
Yeah. Where
do you find these people online to market to?
So LinkedIn, as a big one for us, because our end customers are your buyers, your program managers, and your engineers within the OEMs. So our sales team and our engineering team, they're talking to them on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day, depending on when launches are. But so most times we'll have those contacts, but to keep building them, making them stronger, it's connecting on LinkedIn. So different ways you can search and find out. Auto shows, so different events where we know that they'll be. We'll do events on site, obviously when we're allowed there, where we'll bring our products in along with just information about Hella to a Ford or a GM or a Chrysler, and then we'll allow other employees to come in and see us. So it helps, again, expand our network there, build those relationships. But right now, one of the big things is more that LinkedIn marketing. So building our brand as Hella, making sure we're pushing it so our customers can see kind of what we're doing, what's new and innovative about us, just to kind of make sure that we're fresh on their minds.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've followed you on LinkedIn for a long time. So I've seen, since you started at Hella, your LinkedIn profile has really taken a 180. in the better direction, what are some of the things that you started off to learn of what to transform your LinkedIn and how you want it to be, and what have you seen in action that works?
So one of the big things that my boss has been pushing is kind of building your personal brand. So it's great that we can push this information on Hella, but as employees, our job is also to be a brand ambassador for the company. So certain things like making sure, you have a nice header. So a lot of times people have their original profile picture but don't have a nice header picture on it. Making sure you're engaging with your network. It's so easy to just have a LinkedIn profile, but if it's just a LinkedIn profile sitting there, what use is that? Posting once a week, commenting on other people's posts, sharing other people's posts. And it doesn't have to be limited to just your company or just your sector. Go outside of the scope. Push yourself to engage with different organizations or engage with different people that you normally wouldn't, because that's how you'll build your brand. That's how you'll build your connections, and you'll begin to learn from different people. Another thing that we've been focusing on too is making sure that your profile has good content in it. So when you're looking at your LinkedIn profile, it doesn't just have your title. It has what you're responsible for. Has energizing words that make people engage and want to know more about who you are. What do you do? What are your interests? What are your hobbies? I think a lot of times too, with the building your personal brand, it's easy to get stuck in LinkedIn is a professional site, and I need to only be talking about work. There's different ways to engage that professional network without it only being talking about work. I did a post the other day about how my dog was barking during a meeting. Something super lighthearted, but it was able to engage people in a different way outside of, here's this product or here's this, idea we're pushing toward. My boss is currently raising money for the Breast Cancer Association and for fighting the fight against breast cancer, and posted a picture of him in a pink tutu the other day. I mean, there's ways to engage your network without it having to be super on the rigid work. And I think that's one big thing, is that LinkedIn is a site to communicate and learn and grow. Use it and push it to its limits.
Yeah, I totally agree, because you want to be on LinkedIn, you want to be professional, but when you're connecting with people, at least from my point of view, is I want to connect with a real person. I don't want to connect with someone who's going to send me a direct mail message 1 minute after we connect and I know it's automated, right? I want someone who's real, authentic, doesn't just post about themselves but brings others into the thing. And like you were saying about the breast cancer thing, I did a post Friday for the Dream Center Pontiac, and I got more engagement on that than I do on any of my insurance posts. Don't worry about it.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the big things is just showing who you are, showing your personality, asking questions in your LinkedIn post too, because it's going to engage people. People want to see the true you, and just have a conversation. I mean, we're everyone's human. Right? And I think it's so easy to get stuck behind the computer and think out every word, every comma, every period. I mean, I'm a grammatical freak. I love writing everything out. I'll rewrite it 18 times, make sure that the comma is in the perfect position. But sometimes you just need to write, and just whatever you're feeling, whatever's on your mind, just put it out there. Because I guarantee you, probably other people are feeling the same way too.
Yeah, and like almost everything, it's a numbers game, right? So
yep.
I think, when I was first starting to post on social media for business, it felt sometimes annoying as personally, like I'm annoying other people if I post a lot, but that's what it's for. LinkedIn is to post, and Facebook is to post, Instagram is to post. And I think if you keep it real and authentic and just stay true to yourself, people aren't going to think that's annoying. That's just, like you said, your personal brand now.
Exactly.
So you have to be careful what you put out there, but don't overthink it and put too much like, oh my god, this word is wrong, I can't post it. The more content you get out, the more people are going to recognize you, associate Carissa with automotive marketing, right?
Exactly.
So just building your brand is also being consistent with posting, like you said, once a week, something like that.
Exactly, and I think it's knowing what each platform is used for, knowing what LinkedIn is used for versus Facebook versus Instagram versus Twitter. So making sure you're figuring out what posts go on what. I mean, it doesn't have to be the exact same post that you're posting on LinkedIn that's going on Facebook. Tailor it a little bit. Add in some jokes on Facebook. Add in some more pictures on Instagram. So just don't be afraid to also tailor your brand a little bit based on whatever platform you're speaking on. I mean, they're all very different, right? You can't communicate the same message on Twitter that you can on LinkedIn. You're limited on characters. You're limited on space. Also, people tend to scroll faster through different platforms, right? Instagram, you need a visually appealing image to really draw someone's attention in. Facebook, puns, jokes. People love that sort of thing. Like, make sure that you're also realizing that each different platform, it's okay to have a different brand associated with it. Every company does it. Every person should be doing it too.
Yeah, and on all these platforms now, if you're running any sort of ads or anything, boosting posts, you can target specifically who you're trying to go after, too.
Exactly.
So you can take messaging and really drill into the nitty-gritty of who you're trying to hit, and then take those platforms and make sure it gets out to those kind of people. So if you have a different message that might not resonate with a senior compared to a millennial, you can differentiate and put two different posts out there and target it to two different demographics.
Exactly. It's just know who your audience is, know what the platform is, and just make sure that you're just being true and authentic to yourself and not trying to be the person that everyone wants you to be. Because it's,
no one likes that guy.
No.
Or gal.
No.
All right, let's go back to student athlete.
Yes.
You said that had a big impact on you. Obviously, I was a student athlete as well, played
Yes.
lacrosse. What were your biggest takeaways that you've seen transition into the business world?
One of the biggest things for me was learning how to work with different people. So going into college, people on my team were from different walks of life. You were raised in different states with different views and with different upbringings. I think from different countries. I mean, we had someone that came from Europe. So I think for me, one of the biggest things was really learning how to come into a team atmosphere where we all had the same common goal, but maybe our ideas of how to get there were very different. So how do you communicate with different people? How do you work together? How do you understand what drives people to help everyone as a team get to the end goal? So that was probably one of the biggest things I learned. I was very much here, I want to get here, I know I want to get here, and I'm going to do what I can to get there. But in a team setting, work is a team setting. There's no one person that's going to make a company just successfully run. You need a team to be the whole picture. And if you can learn to work as a whole cohesive unit and learn to see different people's perspectives, I mean,
life's a lot easier.
It is. The world is your oyster.
That just doing some research on Hella before this, I know that you guys are an international company with thousands of employees.
Exactly.
And so I can see how that translates directly to that working in a team unit. But I wanted to build off that and question how working with an international team and an international company, how much does that change your marketing tactics? Because for me, I'm trying to drill in really local community, local, and you're on an international scale. I wanted to see how it differs going after those two audiences.
It is very different. A majority of my team sits in Europe. So first off, you're dealing with time difference. So you only have a very certain specific amount of time that you're really working with each other. So the afternoons for them and mornings for us, where you can spend that creative time working together, catching up on different ideas. But also with being such a global organization, I mean, we're in over 30 countries, is learning what is important for each region. What's important for us here in the States, what we as marketing professionals are like, okay, this is what our end consumer wants, this is what our customer wants. Sometimes it's very different from what you're seeing in Europe and what you're seeing from China. And I think that comes back to the whole teamwork, is you have to be able to have those open discussions to say, and fight for what your region wants, to make sure that on a whole global platform we're really communicating the correct ideas and the correct messaging for every single market. It's not always perfect. There is no secret hidden, this is what works for everyone. And it's constantly changing. As a world, we're constantly changing, especially in automotive, what we want, what we need, what is going into the cars. I mean, 20 years ago, if you would have ever said that there were self-driving cars on the road, I think we all would have rolled our eyes.
Yeah.
But it's here. We're here, and it's more important in some countries than it is in other countries. So really making sure that you're hounding into your market, so its voice is heard, but pairing it together on a very high global platform and on a global level, so that way you're seeing everything. It's honestly, it's pretty cool.
Now, I know that electric vehicles are the future in automotive.
Yes.
I'm curious, where does America stacked up in that being a priority compared to across the world?
One thing that is very surprising to me is it kind of comes down to rules and regulations. Europe is ahead of us when it comes to that. I think you'll see it a lot when it comes to just the different electric components that they're allowed to have on the roads, kind of what they're pushing for. I mean, if you look around the U.S., how often are you seeing charging stations?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. And that's critical for a lot of these electric cars. So people that do have them, probably have electric charging stations at their house. They'll also be very cognizant about where they can go, how far they can go, and different items like that. The U.S. is just pushing it, and it's a big thing. But I think it just really depends on where regions you are, and you have to take a look at one of the big things in automotive is a lot of the rules and regulations that our government has. So really taking a look at those.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I know that looking at Hella's website that you guys take corporate responsibility, sustainability pretty seriously over there.
Very much so.
Do you just want to touch on that a little bit, on Hella's, anything they're doing that's cool over there in that sense?
So I think more on the social responsibility is really making sure we're giving back to our community. I think for every organization that's a big thing, right? Is how do you give back to your community? How do you give back to where all your employees are living? So certain things like volunteering in local areas, making sure that we have internship programs where we're really pushing people to go and see different global aspects. Giving fundraisers, so different items like that are really giving people an opportunity to say thank you to the organization is really saying thank you to its employees for all that they do. In our local area, we have employees that are volunteering on local robotics teams. For us, that's a really big push because those robotics teams are what's going to help build the future of engineers and stuff like that. So making sure that we're encouraging our employees to get involved in those sort of things.
Yeah, I think that's a big piece that people, they hear corporate social responsibility and they just think, oh, environment. But in school I learned people, profit, and planet, right? So
Exactly.
People's a huge aspect. It's not only what you do for your own people, but like you said, your community. And I think the more businesses that we get on board with not only focusing on the profit part, but also the people and planet, the better we're going to be here.
Exactly. And every company's focusing on the planet. What can we do to eliminate our waste?
Yeah. Especially in your industry, right? Automotive, that's huge.
That's a massive thing. And you look at all these OEMs and they're all looking at how the big words that you'll hear are cleaner, safer, smarter, and lighter. So different ways of how can we make these cars cleaner for the environment? So how are they reducing less CO2 waste? How are they lighter? So because if they're lighter, then they're not using as much gas and as much energy. Safer. So again, how are we safer for not only the driver, but how are we being safer for the planet? And how can we reduce our footprint? Everyone's looking at that. That's the big push for electric vehicles is coming out. So you're not using the gas. Every organization's looking at it and they're seeing what we can do. All the OEMs are pushing it down to the supplier level. So what can we do to make sure our part is being done for the environment? It's a big thing.
I think the more people we have thinking about that, the better we're going to be here in the future.
Exactly.
So I'm glad to hear that Hella's, doing their part. I think that's been pretty good. Can you just give one piece of professional advice that you give to the professional people out there?
My biggest advice is don't be afraid to be yourself. I think when it comes to being a professional, we're all so focused on being, prim and proper, this perfect employee, but it's not realistic. You have to be you. For me, I am someone that's going to ask a lot of questions. I need to ask questions because I need to understand all the detail of why I'm doing things the way I'm doing them. Is there a way I can then change the process? There's something that we can do better as an organization by asking all these questions, understanding why. Sometimes we do things just to do things, but I've learned that if I find an organization that really embraces that, and I find a boss that really embraces my ability to ask questions, I better the organization and they help me be a better employee. So if you get caught up in that I'm this perfect employee or I'm just this one way, it won't help you and it won't help the organization. So be yourself, don't be afraid to show that. I mean, obviously be professional, but unless you're being your true self, you won't help your career and your employer won't help you grow.
I think that's the theme of the podcast.
I think
people.
it is.
Be yourself and put it out there on social media so you can build your brand. Thanks for listening to episode 10. Carissa, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening. And remember, keep it professional, people.